A piercing scream from my mother tore through the quiet of our Denver kitchen, her coffee mug crashing to the floor as her eyes fixed on my chest, wide with horror. The morning sun streamed through the window, painting our modest home in a golden haze, but the air turned thick with unspoken dread. For nearly a year, I, Ryan Taylor, had been swallowing small purple pills, believing they were vitamins, just like the ones Mom, Laura, took daily to stay healthy. Their bitter tang fizzed on my tongue, sparking a burst of energy that carried me through our sleepy suburban neighborhood. I was young, trusting, when she handed me the bottle, but as I stood there in my worn navy blue tee, the fabric clinging to curves I hadn't dared name, her scream echoed a truth that threatened to unravel everything. "Ryan, what's happening?" I stammered, my voice cracking as I gripped the orange juice carton, its chill seeping into my trembling hands. Her face drained of color, her breath ragged, and I knew nothing would ever be the same. She shook her head, her hazel eyes wide with an emotion I couldn't place. "Could you take your shirt off for a second?" "Now?" I blinked, confused, but her nod was firm. With a shrug, I tugged the shirt over my head and stood there, feeling the cool morning air on my skin. She stepped closer, her fingers gently brushing my chest on both sides. Her eyes widened further, a flicker of shock passing through them before she sank back into her chair. "Put it back on," she said softly. I did, tugging the fabric down as I sat, my brows knitting together. "Ryan, have you been taking anything I don't know about? Any pills?" "Just the ones you take," I said, puzzled. "You said they were vitamins, good for health and all that. I've been taking those purple ones from your bottle. Why? Did I mess up?" Her face paled. "Which ones, honey? The small purple ones?" "Yeah, they give me a little extra energy. What's wrong?" "Oh, Ryan," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Those aren't vitamins. They're my estrogen pills." I stared at her, the words not fully sinking in. "So? I'll just stop taking them. No big deal, right?" She shook her head, her hands clasped tightly on the table. "It might not be that simple. Those bumps on your chest, they're not just bumps. They're breasts, Ryan. Girls start developing at that stage because of estrogen. You've been taking those pills for over a year." "Breasts?" My voice cracked, a mix of disbelief and rising panic. I touched my chest, feeling the slight swells I'd barely noticed before. They were small but unmistakable now that I was looking. "No way, Mom, I'm not a girl. I don't want to be a girl." "I know, honey," she said, her voice breaking. "But after taking them for so long, I'm not sure what'll happen. The estrogen in your system, it might keep changing your body. Those breasts could grow, and if they do, it's going to be hard to hide them. If you have to wear a bra, going to school as a boy. Kids can be cruel, Ryan. They might tease you, or worse. Let's see Dr. Mitchell this morning, okay? She'll tell us what's going on." My heart pounded as I nodded, the reality of her words sinking in like a stone. I pressed my hands against my chest again, as if I could push the changes away. The drive to Dr. Mitchell's clinic in downtown Denver felt endless, the city's gray skyline blurring past as my mind raced. The examination was thorough, too, thorough poking, prodding, and questions that made my cheeks burn. Afterward, Mom and I sat in Dr. Mitchell's office, the air heavy with antiseptic and tension. The doctor's calm demeanor did little to ease the knot in my stomach. "Ryan," Dr. Mitchell began, her voice steady but kind, "your estrogen levels are comparable to a girl several years older. The pills you've been taking have significantly altered your body's chemistry. Even if you stop now, the changes will likely continue, much like they would for any girl that stage of life going through puberty. Based on what your mom shared about her own development, you'll probably see rapid growth in your breasts over the next few months. They'll become noticeable enough to need support, like a bra. Your hips will likely widen, becoming rounder, and your voice won't deepen like a typical boy's. It'll stay in a range more common for girls. Your testicles haven't descended, and after examining you, I doubt they will. The estrogen has suppressed your body's testosterone production to the point where it can't counteract these effects. In short, your body is developing as a girl's would, and there's little we can do to stop it. I turned to Mom, my throat tight, searching her face for some sign this was a mistake. But her eyes were glassy, her lips pressed into a thin line. The room spun, and before I could stop it, tears spilled down my cheeks. I buried my face in my hands, the weight of Dr. Mitchell's words crashing over me. It won't fall off, will it? I managed to choke out, my voice small. Dr. Mitchell's expression softened. No, Ryan, it won't fall off. But it's unlikely to grow much either, which, given the changes we expect, might not be a bad thing. The drive home was silent, the hum of the car's engine the only sound as I stared out the window at the rain-slicked streets of Denver. At home, I bolted to my room, yanking off my shirt to stare at my reflection in the mirror. The small, rounded swells on my chest were undeniable now, the centers slightly darker, more pronounced than I remembered. I ran my hands over my hips, searching for changes, but they felt the same for now. Collapsing onto my bed, I let the tears come again, hot and relentless. I didn't want to be a girl. I didn't want any of this. Mom found me there later, her footsteps soft as she crossed the room. She sat beside me, pulling me into her arms as I sobbed against her shoulder, the familiar scent of her lavender shampoo grounding me even as my world unraveled. This is partly my fault, Ryan, she murmured, her voice thick with guilt. If I'd shown you the right bottle, if I'd been clearer about the vitamins, this might not have happened. It's a horrible accident, but we'll face it together. People deal with unexpected challenges every day, and we will too. The doctor might be wrong about how fast this will happen. We have time before it becomes a problem. You can finish the school year as you are. But let's avoid tight clothes, okay? Just to be safe. I nodded, too exhausted to argue, but the fear lingered like a shadow. Back at school, I became a master of avoidance, changing for gym in the bathroom stall, never wearing anything that clung too closely. Mom didn't rush out to buy dresses or force me into anything feminine, but she drew the line at cutting my hair. Just let it grow a little, she said one evening, brushing a strand from my eyes. We'll figure this out together, Ryan. Her words were meant to comfort, but they couldn't erase the dread that settled in my chest, the sense that my body was no longer entirely my own. The school year dragged on, each day a test of my ability to keep my secret hidden in the bustling halls of my Denver middle school. At night, alone in my room, I'd stand before the mirror, lifting my shirt to inspect the changes I couldn't ignore. My chest was undeniably fuller, the swells more pronounced with each passing week. My jeans, once snug, now hung loose at the waist, but clung tightly to my hips, the denim straining against my rounding backside. Shirts grated against my sensitive skin like sandpaper, and running something I'd always loved became painful as my chest jostled with every step. I dreaded the day I knew was coming, the one Mom had warned me about, when hiding wouldn't be enough, and a bra would become inevitable. The thought of dresses and skirts made my stomach churn, but no matter how hard I tried to will it away, my body seemed to have its own plans. I'd stopped taking Mom's estrogen pills the moment we realized my mistake, but Dr. Mitchell had prescribed new ones, saying they'd help. I'd hoped they'd reverse the changes, maybe undo the damage, but they didn't. By the time summer break arrived, my breasts had grown enough to fill my cupped hands, tender and impossible to ignore, jutting out defiantly. I avoided mirrors when I could, but the truth was inescapable. The day after school let out, Mom entered my room, her face etched with a sad, determined smile. My heart sank. This was it, the moment I'd been dreading. She didn't blame me for the mix-up with her pills. She knew it was an accident, but she'd been clear from the start. If my body kept changing, I'd have no choice but to adapt. Today was that day. Ryan, we need to talk, she said, her voice gentle but firm. Undress for a moment, okay? I need to measure you. I froze, my throat tightening. Mom, please. I can hide them. I swear I can. I'll wear baggy clothes. Anything. She shook her head, her eyes soft with sympathy. Honey, loose clothes might work for a while, but not forever. You have gym class next year. How will you change without someone noticing? And your voice. It's not going to deepen like the other boys. It's already soft, like a girl's. If you keep presenting as a boy, it'll only get harder. Kids can be cruel, Ryan. You know that. I've thought about this every night, just like you have. And I don't see another way, do you? I wanted to argue, to scream that there had to be another option, but the weight of her words silenced me. My reflection in the mirror mocked me those curves, that softness. I couldn't outrun this. Reluctantly, I nodded, and she took her tape measure, jotting down numbers as I stood there, exposed and vulnerable. Get dressed, she said when she was done. We're going shopping today. It's time, honey. I want you there to make sure we get the right fit. My heart pounded as we drove to the mall, the familiar Denver skyline blurring past. Inside the department store, the lingerie section felt like a foreign land, racks of bras and panties stretching endlessly before me. Mom guided me through, her voice calm as she picked out a few simple bras, soft cotton. No lace, nothing too frilly, along with matching panties and a couple of nightgowns. My cheeks burned as the cashier rang up our purchases, her smile polite but oblivious to the storm raging inside me. Next, we moved to the clothing section, where Mom selected a denim skirt, a simple sundress, a pair of shorts, fitted jeans, 2 blouses, and a couple of casual tops. She added 2 pairs of shoes flats and sneakers before we headed to the register, where the total came to just over $200, a small fortune that felt like a sentence. Back home, my room felt smaller, the pile of new clothes a glaring reminder of what was coming. Mom's voice was gentle but unyielding. You'll need to undress again, Ryan. Let's try these on. Mom, please, I whispered, my voice breaking. Can't we just— This is hard for both of us, she interrupted, her eyes glistening. Let's not make it harder. Let's see how they fit. I swallowed my protest and slipped on a pair of panties, the soft fabric foreign against my skin. Mom helped me into a bra, adjusting the straps until it sat snugly around my chest. The elastic felt strange, constricting, but the relief of having my breasts supported was undeniable. No more bouncing, no more tenderness with every step. She handed me the denim skirt and a soft blue top, then slipped the flats onto my feet. Finally, she brushed out my hair, which had grown longer and fuller over the months, and dabbed a touch of lip gloss and blush on my face. When she stepped back, I turned to the mirror and froze. The reflection staring back wasn't me, not the Ryan I knew. The curves, the soft lines, the way the skirt hugged my hips, it was like seeing a stranger, or maybe a sister I didn't have. My eyes welled up, and I bit my lip to keep from crying again. Mom's hand rested on my shoulder. Come to the kitchen, she said softly. I followed, my new shoes clicking faintly on the hardwood floor. We sat at the table, the weight of the moment heavy between us. I know this is tough, she said, her voice steady despite the tears in her eyes. But we have to face reality. You can't go to school as a boy with breasts, Ryan. It's not safe, and it's not practical. Dressing like this is our best option. We'll make it work, okay? I didn't respond, my gaze fixed on the table. We need a name, she continued. Something to use when you're dressed like this. Have you thought about it? I shook my head, my throat too tight to speak. Any names you like? She pressed gently. Another shake. How about Naomi? It's a lovely name. Naomi? I croaked, the sound foreign. It's too different. Okay, how about Natalie? It's close to Ryan, but softer. No, Mom, I said, panic rising. It's too close. The kids at school, they'll know it's me. She paused, thinking. Fair enough. Why don't we go to the bookstore and get one of those baby name books? We can find something that feels right. While we're out, we could get your ears pierced. Maybe pick up some simple jewelry. Nothing fancy, just a start. I looked down at myself, the skirt and top a stark contrast to the boy I still felt I was. Do I have to go outside like this? You look fine, honey, she said, her smile encouraging. Better than fine. You'll need to get used to this, Ryan. These clothes are part of your life now. There's nothing wrong with being a girl. I'm one, after all. But I'm not, I snapped, my voice trembling. I'm a boy. I know, she said softly, her hand squeezing mine. But those pills changed things. It's not your fault, but your body is developing like a girl's, and it's only going to continue. You don't have to love it, but we need to adapt. You don't have to act like other girls play with dolls or giggle all the time. Just be you, in these clothes. I wanted to argue, to scream that I'd never accept this, but her logic was inescapable. With a heavy heart, I let her take my hand, and we stepped outside, the cool Denver air brushing against my bare legs. The bookstore was our destination, but every step felt like a leap into a world I wasn't ready for. My reflection in every shop window, a reminder of the girl I was becoming, whether I wanted to or not. The bookstore in downtown Denver was a maze of shelves, the air thick with the scent of paper and coffee from the attached cafe. Mom and I sat at a small table, flipping through a thick baby name book, the pages worn from countless hands. My finger traced the lists of names, each one feeling like a step further from who I was. I paused on one, hesitating. Are you sure? Mom asked, her voice gentle but probing. I shrugged, my heart not fully in it. Yeah, I guess. It's all right. She tilted her head, studying the page. Lisa's a lovely name, but you know we already have a Lisa in the family, your cousin, Aunt Carol's daughter. How about this one instead? Her finger tapped the page. Lily, Lily Rose. It's soft, pretty, and it suits you. It wasn't like I had a better idea. Fine, I said, nodding. Lily Rose Taylor it was. The name felt foreign, like trying on someone else's coat. But I didn't argue. From that moment, Mom didn't let up. She was kind but relentless, steering me through the mall for more shopping. Another bra, more panties, 2 additional skirts, a floral dress, and a pair of low heels that cost $45 joined the growing pile. At a makeup counter, a woman with a bright smile transformed my face with foundation, blush, and a soft pink lipstick, her brushes tickling my skin. Mom watched closely, then bought every product used $80 worth of cosmetics I never wanted. At a small jewelry kiosk, I winced as my ears were pierced, the sharp sting followed by the weight of simple silver studs. On the way home, Mom pulled into her salon, a chic little place near our neighborhood. We've come this far, honey, she said, parking the car. Let's get your hair cut and styled. I'll ask them to keep it simple, something you can manage on your own. My mind screamed that this was all wrong, that I shouldn't be here, but my body complied, following her inside. The stylist, a cheerful woman named Kim, trimmed my hair into a soft bob that framed my face, the strands falling just above my shoulders. By the time we got home, every part of me felt altered my name, my clothes, my hair, even the tiny studs glinting in my ears. I was Lily now, whether I liked it or not. At dinner, I poked at my food, the denim skirt feeling alien against my legs. Do I have to paint my room pink or something? I asked, half joking, half dreading her answer. Mom laughed softly, shaking her head. Not unless you want to. It could use a fresh coat, though. I've always liked light blue with white trim neutral, calming. Think about it, okay? I nodded, but my mind was elsewhere. The bra, as much as I hated it, eased the raw, sandpaper-like irritation on my chest, a small relief overshadowed by how it accentuated my breasts, making them impossible to ignore. After dinner, I grabbed a soda from the fridge and slipped out to the back porch, needing air and space to process. The Denver evening was cool, the sky streaked with pink and orange. I sat on the steps, staring at my hands, trying to reconcile the boy I was with the girl I was becoming. Tears pricked my eyes, but before they could fall, a voice broke through. Hi there, I'm Chloe. What's your name? I looked up, my heart lurching. Chloe Blake, my friend from down the street, stood there, her curly brown hair bouncing as she grinned. I froze, my voice catching. Lily! I mumbled, terrified she'd see through me. Her eyes narrowed, then widened. Wait! You're Ryan! Why are you dressed like a girl? I swallowed hard, my cheeks burning. Mom says, I'm a girl now. No way! Chloe's jaw dropped, but her curiosity overpowered her shock. For real? I nodded, shrugging helplessly. Yeah, she gasped, then bolted back toward her house, shouting, Wait till Mom hears this! Panic surged through me. I leapt up, the soda can clattering to the porch, and sprinted inside, nearly colliding with Mom in the hallway. My breath came in short gasps as I raced to my room, slamming the door behind me. The mirror caught my eye, and there she was, Lily, with her soft hair and curved figure. I looked like a girl, and the realization hit like a punch. Tears streamed down my face as the door creaked open. Honey, what's wrong? Mom asked, her voice soft with concern. Chloe knows, I choked out. She saw me and ran to tell her mom. Mom knelt beside me, her hand on my shoulder. So what if she saw you? You heard Dr. Mitchell, there's no stopping this. Your body's changing, Lily. But she's telling everyone, I cried, my voice breaking. Mom sighed, brushing a strand of hair from my face. I'll call Chloe's mom and explain. But you can't keep running inside and crying every time someone finds out. It won't change anything. How about this? Let me touch up your hair and add a little lipstick, just a pale shade. Then we'll walk over to Chloe's together. I'll talk to her mom, and you and Chloe can sort things out. Maybe even hang out. Can we try that? I shook my head, tears falling. This isn't a bad dream, is it? No, honey, she said, her voice steady but kind. Your body's developing like Chloe's, like any girl that stage of life. I know it's hard, but instead of fighting it, why not lean in? Watch how Chloe moves, how she talks. Try it out. You don't have to love it, but you're becoming a girl, Lily. By the time school starts, the boys will be taller, stronger, their voices deeper. You won't be like them, and that's okay. There's no shame in being a girl. You just need to find your way to fit in. I hate it, I whispered, my voice barely audible. I know, she said, squeezing my hand, but I also know you'll grow into this, just like Chloe. Let's fix you up, and we'll face this together. Reluctantly, I let her smooth my hair and dab on a faint layer of lipstick. Then, instead of cutting through the yards like I'd hoped, she led me out the front door and around the block, the cool air brushing my bare legs. A few friends from the neighborhood glanced our way as we passed, their eyes lingering but silent, probably too stunned to speak. My heart pounded as we reached Chloe's house. Mom rang the bell, and Chloe's mom, Brenda, answered, her expression a mix of curiosity and concern. Chloe stood beside her, eyes wide with questions. Brenda invited us in, but before she could ask anything, Mom suggested, Why don't Lily and Chloe step outside for a bit? Chloe grabbed my hand, pulling me to their backyard, leaving our moms to talk. Are those real? Chloe asked, her gaze dropping to my chest. Your boobs, I mean. They look real. I nodded, my voice shaky. Yeah, that's why Mom says I'm turning into a girl. She says I don't have a choice. That's why you're wearing a skirt, right? Chloe said, her tone more curious than judgmental. Yeah, I admitted, looking down at the denim hugging my hips. She said I'd look weird as a boy with these. Chloe tilted her head, studying me. You do kinda look like a girl. It's weird, but kinda cool too. Her words didn't erase the knot in my stomach, but they weren't cruel either. As we sat on her porch, the Denver dusk settling around us, I realized this was just the beginning. Lily Rose was here to stay, and I had to figure out how to live as her, one uncertain step at a time. Chloe's backyard was a small oasis of green in our Denver neighborhood, the grass damp from an earlier drizzle. We sat on her porch steps, the summer air cool against my bare legs. a sensation I wasn't used to. I tugged at the hem of my skirt, feeling exposed. "Don't you feel weird with your legs bare all the time, Chloe?" I asked, rubbing my arms. "Doesn't it get cold?" She shrugged, her curls bouncing. "Not really. Most of the prettiest dresses are short now, and they're fun to wear. When it gets chilly, I just switch to pants or leggings. You'll get used to it." I frowned, unconvinced. "I guess, but you're kinda cute, you know," she said with a grin. "I bet my brother Tyler will think so too." My stomach dropped. Tyler, a year older than us, was a notorious bully, always picking on Chloe and me. Once, he'd locked her in her room for an entire day, laughing as she pounded on the door. The thought of him seeing me like this made my skin crawl. Before I could respond, Chloe's mom, Brenda, called from the back door. "Girls, come inside. I've got cookies for a snack." We shuffled into the kitchen, the smell of warm chocolate chip cookies filling the air. Mom and Brenda sat at the table, coffee mugs in hand. Brenda's smile was softer now, her initial shock replaced by something like acceptance. "Lily, your mom explained everything," she said, her voice kind. "It's not your fault, honey. You're welcome here anytime, and I'm sure you and Chloe will have a blast together." Chloe's eyes lit up. "Does that mean she's staying like this? For good?" Mom nodded, her expression steady. "Yes, Chloe. Lily is here to stay. I hope you'll help her if she needs it." "Totally," Chloe chirped, grabbing my hand. "Can we go to my room now?" Our moms nodded, and Chloe tugged me upstairs. Her room was a chaotic mix of childhood and adolescence posters of pop stars taped to the walls, a shelf of worn dolls, a cluttered vanity overflowing with makeup and trinkets, and clothes strewn across the floor. It wasn't so different from my own room, minus the dolls and makeup. Chloe was straddling that line between little girl and young woman, embracing it with an excitement I couldn't fathom. "Have you ever worn a dress?" she asked, rummaging through her closet. "Just a skirt," I said, shifting uncomfortably. "Why?" "Let's play dress up. It's fun, and you might find something you like." I... I'm not sure I should." "Come on," she insisted, pulling out two dresses, a blue sundress and a red one with tiny flowers. "I'll go first." Before we could start, Mom appeared in the doorway, her face tense. "Lily, we need to go. Dr. Mitchell paged me she wants to see you." The drive to the clinic felt like a lifetime, my mind racing with worst-case scenarios. At the office, a nurse led us to a small exam room with a sterile bed and a faint antiseptic smell. Dr. Mitchell entered, followed by another doctor, a tall man with a kind smile. She explained why we were there, her tone measured but hopeful. "I was discussing Lily's situation with my colleague, Dr. Singh," she began. "He once helped a patient who wanted to present as a woman and developed a non-surgical technique to make that possible. It's not invasive, especially for someone as young as Lily, and it could make things easier when you start school. It would ensure no one suspects you're anything but a girl, especially in situations like gym class. Here, look at these." She handed Mom a packet of photos. Mom's eyes widened as she flipped through them. "Wow," she said, turning to Dr. Singh. "You did this? How long did it take?" Dr. Singh nodded. "It took some trial and error, but yes, I performed the procedure 2 years ago, and the patient has had no complications. They've chosen to keep things as they are. For Lily, it would involve a minor adjustment, a small incision to reroute the urinary tract for a more typical female presentation. The whole process takes about 3 hours, and within a week, there'll be no visible signs of the procedure. It's purely for aesthetics and functionality, no major surgery." Mom passed me the photos. They showed a body that looked undeniably female, but I didn't fully understand the mechanics how it worked, where things went. All I knew was that gym class loomed like a nightmare. If the other girls saw something off, the teasing would be relentless, or worse. I looked at Mom, my throat tight, unable to form words. She turned to the doctors. "Can we have a moment alone, please?" "Of course," Dr. Mitchell said. "This is a big decision. Take your time." The door clicked shut, and Mom knelt in front of me, her eyes searching mine. Lily, do you understand what this means? I. I think so, I stammered, my voice barely above a whisper. It means you'd look like the other girls, completely, she said softly. You'd have to sit to use the bathroom, like they do. It's a big step, but it would protect you. No one would know you're not a girl. I stared at the photos, my mind spinning. In those pictures, he said that was a guy? Like me? But where's... I'm not sure of the details, Mom admitted. But Dr. Singh said it's minor, just enough to make you look like a girl down there. The pictures are convincing, aren't they? I nodded, my heart pounding. He won't cut it off, right? What if I stop changing? No, honey, she said firmly. He won't cut anything off, I promise. This is just to help you blend in, to keep you safe. You'll look like a girl, all over, and no one will question it. I hated the idea, the thought of losing the last piece of Ryan making my chest ache. But the alternative, being exposed, ridiculed, or worse, was unbearable. Tears pricked my eyes as I nodded, unable to speak. Mom squeezed my hand, her own eyes glistening. Okay, she whispered. We'll do this together. As we waited for Dr. Singh to return, the weight of the decision settled over me. Lily Rose was becoming more real with every step, and I wasn't sure how much of Ryan would be left by the time school started. But for now, I had no choice but to keep moving forward, one uncertain step at a time. Mom's eyes held mine, steady and reassuring, as we sat in the small exam room at Dr. Mitchell's clinic. The air was heavy with the weight of the decision before us. You'll be able to play with Chloe without worrying about her brother or anyone else, she said softly. Can I tell Dr. Singh we'll do it? That you're okay with it? I swallowed hard, my voice barely a whisper. I have to, don't I? It would make things easier, honey, for everyone. I'll be a real girl? The words felt like stones in my mouth. As far as anyone else knows, yes, Mom said, her hand squeezing mine. And you won't tell anyone? Never, honey, I promise. I took a shaky breath, my heart pounding. If you say it's okay, then I'll say okay. But it'll be fine, she said, her voice warm with conviction. In a few days, you'll get used to it. Everything will be fine. She called the doctors back in, giving a small nod. Dr. Singh smiled gently. If you'll undress, Lily, we can get started. Mom stayed by my side until the nurse gave me a shot, the world fading into a soft blur. I don't remember much after that, only waking to a dull ache and a small bandage just above my groin. When I looked down, the sight was jarring, no familiar protrusion, just a smooth, rounded shape that mimicked a girl's anatomy. Dr. Mitchell sat me up, ensuring I was alert, before Mom joined us. Dr. Singh explained the procedure in calm, measured tones. Lily's anatomy was already smaller than typical for a boy due to the hormones, he said. We made a small incision to reroute the urinary tract, so it now exits through a more anatomically female position. We inverted the penis, using the skin to create outer folds, and added collagen to give a natural appearance. What remains of the testicles and penis is secured inside, out of sight. Lily won't feel them, and there should be no discomfort. From now on, she'll need to sit to urinate, just like other girls. We created a small pocket during the inversion, which may deepen slightly as she grows, not enough for adult male anatomy, but sufficient to maintain the appearance of a female. You can get dressed now, Lily. Slipping on my panties, I noticed they fit smoothly, no bulge to betray me. But the reality hit hardest the first time I used the bathroom. Sitting down, I felt the finality of it. I wasn't a boy anymore, not in any visible way. Mom kept me home for nearly a week to heal, with only Chloe visiting. I told her I was a real girl now, and her wide smile eased some of my fear, though I wasn't ready for her to see the truth. That Saturday, Chloe invited me over to play dress-up. I hesitated, but agreed, curious despite myself. In her room, I stripped to my bra and panties, letting her slip a sparkly pink party dress over my head. She chose a blue one for herself, and we raided her makeup stash, smearing on lipstick and eyeshadow with giggles that felt surprisingly natural. Looking in her mirror, we were a mess, more like overdone drag queens than glamorous teens. But it was fun, a fleeting escape from my worries. As I started to change, Chloe suggested a swim. Here, she said, tossing me one of her old swimsuits, a teal one piece. I don't know, I started, but she was already stripping down. For the first time, I saw a real girl's body up close, and when I reluctantly shed my clothes, Chloe caught a glimpse of me. Her eyes widened briefly, but she didn't say anything. To her, I looked like she did, and that glance confirmed it. I was a girl in her eyes, no question. We slipped into the suits and raced to her backyard pool, squealing as the cold water hit us. We splashed and laughed for an hour, the summer sun warm on our shoulders. As we climbed out, Brenda handed us towels, her smile warm and unjudging. Wrapped in my towel, I walked home across the yards, the damp swimsuit clinging to my skin. I changed into dry shorts and a top, noticing how the shorts hugged my hips just like Chloe's did. I didn't think much of it until I stepped outside and saw Chloe's brother, Tyler, striding down the street with his friend Logan. Hey, Tyler called, his voice sharp. Where's that twerp Ryan? I froze, my heart racing. Who are you? I asked, playing dumb. I'm Tyler, and this is Logan. Who are you? Lily, I said, my voice steady, despite the knot in my stomach. Tyler squinted. You're that new girl Chloe's always yapping about. I nodded, praying he'd leave it at that. Tell Ryan when I see him, I'm gonna whip his butt. You can try, I said, surprising myself with the defiance in my voice. But Ryan's not here. He got sent to live with his aunt. We traded places. Tyler scoffed. Scared, huh? Come on, Tyler, Logan said, tugging his arm. Leave her alone. Let's go find Dylan. As they walked away, I realized my knees weren't trembling like they usually did around Tyler. He was a bully to smaller boys, but he rarely bothered girls. For the first time, I felt a strange sense of safety in being Lily. Over the summer, Chloe and I grew closer, sharing secrets, shopping trips, and dress-up sessions. I started to enjoy some of it, picking out clothes, playing with her dolls, even experimenting with makeup. Using the bathroom as a girl became second nature, the strangeness fading with each day. By the time school approached, Chloe and I had both grown into full A-cup bras, our bodies filling out in ways that felt both foreign and familiar. Mom took me shopping again, and this time, I picked out my own bras, lacy, delicate ones that cost $30 each, a choice that surprised even me. I added new panties, skirts, tops, and a couple of dresses, the total ringing up to $250. On enrollment day, Mom handed over a stack of paper's medical records, I assumed, altered to reflect my new reality. The school secretary didn't bat an eye, registering me as Lily Rose Taylor, a girl. As I stood in the school office, the weight of the summer settled over me. Ryan was gone, at least to the world, and Lily was here to stay. With Chloe by my side, I felt a flicker of hope that I could navigate this new life, one step, one outfit, one day at a time. Junior high swept me into its whirlwind, and I, Lily Rose Taylor, found myself caught up in the rhythm of school life in Denver, no longer agonizing over being a girl, but simply trying to blend in. The hallways buzzed with chatter, the clang of lockers, and the shuffle of sneakers, and I navigated it all with a cautious ease. Yet a quiet ache lingered. Nobody asked about Ryan, the boy I used to be. It stung, like a silent confirmation that I hadn't been much to begin with. By mid-year, I noticed the shift in the air. Boys orbiting girls, their laughter and casual touches filling the corridors. Couples strolled hand in hand, and I felt a pang of exclusion. Wasn't I pretty enough? Was I doing something wrong? And why did I even care? The question gnawed at me, a confusing mix of longing and defiance, as if my heart was betraying the boy still buried inside. Just before Christmas, Adam Parker, a lanky boy from my math class with a shy smile, caught me off guard. "Lily, would you, be my date for the Christmas dance?" His words hung in the air, and my stomach flipped with a cocktail of fear, relief, and something dangerously close to excitement. A boy had noticed me. I was one of the girls, truly. I mumbled that I'd ask my mom, and that night I burst through the door, barely containing my nerves. Mom's eyes lit up when I told her, and her, "Of course, honey," was all I needed to hear. The night of the dance, I stood in front of my mirror, transformed. Mom had taken me to her salon, where Kim worked her magic, curling my hair into soft waves that cascaded over my shoulders. My nails, painted a delicate rose pink for $20, gleamed under the light. The dress, a deep emerald green that hugged my budding curves, had cost $75, and for the first time, I slipped into low heels, a $40 pair that made my legs look longer. When Adam and his dad arrived, I felt like Lily, not a boy in disguise, but a girl stepping into her first date. His hand in mine was warm, steady, and as we walked to the car, every trace of Ryan melted away. The gym was a kaleidoscope of twinkling lights and laughter, the music pulsing through the crowd. Adam was awkward but sweet, guiding me through clumsy dance steps. When he walked me to my door afterward, he hesitated, then leaned in and kissed me soft, quick, right on the lips. My heart raced as I bolted inside, dizzy with a joy I couldn't contain. That kiss was a turning point, the moment I stopped fighting. Lily wasn't just a mask, she was me. School became easier after that. I joined the drama club, the art club, and even the girls' soccer team, where Chloe and I became inseparable. My friendships deepened, with girls like Haley and Madison, who never knew Ryan, and loved Lily for her sarcasm and quick laugh. By the time I was a junior, my figure had filled out 36B 24 37, and I turned heads, even catching the eye of Tyler, Chloe's bully of a brother, who now stumbled over his words around me. I wasn't interested, but the irony wasn't lost on me. At a later stage, with half a year left before graduation, I sat down with Dr. Singh. I'd been thinking about it for months, the final step to align my body with who I'd become. Over the midterm break, I went under for the surgery that would complete my transition. Chloe was there, holding my hand as they wheeled me into the operating room, her presence a steady anchor. As my best friend and one of the few who knew my truth, she was as invested in this moment as I was. The procedure, costing $12,000 and covered partly by Mom's insurance, was a milestone I hadn't imagined when this all began. I returned to school a week late, still tender but whole. Logan, my boyfriend by then, was gentle and curious. One quiet evening, I let him touch me, just a brief, intimate moment, to prove to myself that I was complete. It was enough, a private victory. College brought new chapters, and when Adam re-entered my life, he was no longer the shy boy from math class, but a striking young man with a quiet confidence. We went out a few times, rekindling that old spark. One night, as we lay side by side, his eyes tracing my face with a look of awe, I knew I was as much a woman as any other, maybe more, because I'd fought for it. His gaze told me he thought so too. But the story doesn't end there, in the soft glow of that moment. Life as Lily was a triumph, but it carried shadows. I'd embraced womanhood, reveling in the freedom of being myself, but the ghost of Ryan lingered in quiet moments. Late at night, when the world was still, I'd wonder about the boy I might have been. Would he have been happier? Braver? I'd never know, and that uncertainty was a weight I carried alone. Then came the letter, tucked in the mail among bills and flyers, postmarked from a small town in Idaho. It was from Tyler, of all people, now in his early 20s and far from the bully I'd known. His words were halting, almost shy, apologizing for his cruelty back then. He'd heard through Chloe that I'd changed, though he didn't know the full story. He was reaching out, he wrote, because he'd always admired me, even as Ryan, and now as Lily, he couldn't stop thinking about me. He asked to meet, to talk, maybe start fresh. I stared at the letter, my heart racing. Tyler, the boy who'd once terrified me, now saw me in a way I never expected. Part of me wanted to crumple the paper, to dismiss it as a prank or a mistake. But another part, the part that had learned to embrace the unexpected, wondered what it would mean to face him as Lily, fully myself, without fear. I hadn't answered yet, but the letter sat on my desk, a question mark in my carefully constructed world. College life was a whirlwind of classes, parties, and late-night talks with roommates. But that letter pulled me back to Denver, to the girl who'd stood trembling on Chloe's porch. I started noticing things I'd ignored, the way some friends drifted away when I became too girly, the whispers in the locker room when my confidence outshone others. Being Lily was a victory, but it wasn't without cost. I'd gained a life I loved, but I'd lost pieces of Ryan that I hadn't realized mattered until they were gone. One evening, as I walked across campus, the Denver rain misting my hair, I ran into Chloe at a coffee shop. She was home for the weekend, her smile as bright as ever. Over lattes $5 each, a small indulgence, we talked about the past, about Ryan and Lily, about the pills that had changed everything. "Would you do it again?" she asked, her eyes searching mine. "If you could go back, knowing what you know now?" I sipped my coffee, the warmth grounding me. "Yeah," I said, surprising myself with the certainty in my voice. "Those pills were an accident, but they gave me this life. I'm Lily because of them, and I wouldn't trade that for anything." Chloe grinned, but her expression softened. "You're braver than I could ever be, you know." I laughed, shaking my head. "I'm just me, Chloe. That's all I've ever tried to be." As we parted ways, I stepped into the drizzle, pulling my jacket tighter. The letter from Tyler was still unanswered, a loose thread in my story. I didn't know if I'd meet him, if I'd forgive the boy he'd been, or explore the man he'd become. But I knew one thing: Lily Rose Taylor was whole, fierce, and unafraid of whatever came next. Those pills had been a mistake, but they'd led me to a truth I hadn't expected, to a womanhood I'd fought for, loved, and made my own. And in the quiet of that rainy night, with the future stretching out like an open road, I felt ready to face it, letter or no letter, as the woman I was meant to be.